Bowman, here we are. Match chats number 28, 29. I've lost count in all this excitement, as Clint Eastwood once said. I'm very privileged today. About 10 years ago, I was on the way back from rehearsing with a band, and something came on the radio, and it was a track by a band called the Virgin Marys. It was I think it was called Just a Ride, if I remember. And I was listening to it on the way back, and I was having just a ride, and I thought these guys are great. But as time goes on, you kind of forget about these things until, lo and behold, 10 years later, I'm off to go and see the Massive Wagons up in London. And who should be playing alongside them but the wonderful Virgin Marys? And here I am with great pleasure to introduce Danny and Ali. How you doing, boys?
Good, mate. Thank you. Thanks for having us on the show.
It's an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure indeed. You guys are now hard at work rehearsing. Tell everybody what you're rehearsing for.
Yeah, it's unbelievably, it's the 10-year anniversary from our first album, which it doesn't seem like it's 10 years ago at all. So yeah, we're doing two shows, just hometown shows in Macclesfield, and with the original lineup, the old bass player who still lives in Mac. It's been cool, really. Like we always stayed in touch as mates and stuff, and the response has been incredible. I mean, I think we were only supposed to do one show, and it sold out in like 11 hours.
Wow! So
we put the second one on, and that's really close to selling out. So it's going to be a proper Virgin Mary weekend in July, it's really cool. And like the tickets are insane. Like we've had people bought tickets from California, Connecticut, Texas, Pennsylvania, and then Germany, Holland, Sweden. It's mental, absolutely crazy.
You got to it'd be good. Explain to them where Macclesfield is. Some of them probably, somewhere in deepest, darkest Cheshire,
centre of the universe.
It was. I saw the Mac lads many years ago. I love them.
Oh, mate. Great. You know what? No matter where you go, like we toured. I think we toured something like 30, maybe more, 38, something like 38 states of America. And the amount of times someone said to us, "Are you guys from Macclesfield?" And we're waiting for them to say something like Joy Division or New Order, sort of. And they go, "Do you guys know the Mac lads?"
Yeah.
Like, how do you know the Mac lads? How do you know about the Mac lads?
Yeah. Oh, you should be proud of it. I mean, proud of where you come from. But I'm not going to undersell you. You guys are an absolute tour de force. I mean, the two of you on stage. I mean, I've seen Royal Blood. I've seen the White Stripes. I've seen bands where there's just two people on there. The way you hit the drums. I mean, the power you put. I was talking to Baz afterwards about it. I said to him, "My God, he fucking smacks those skins, doesn't he?" But it's not just that. I mean, Ali, your guitar work, the way you control yourself. Do you use sort of bass pedal? What do you use on your sort of pedal board?
Yeah, so I split the signal, so half of it goes into two guitar amps, and then the other part of the signal goes through an octave pedal, and then kind of like deep kind of bass distortion, and then through bass amp. And yeah, I think that's the key, really. If anyone wants to know how to kind of create a bigger sound as being a two-piece, you better splitting your signal and taking the sub bass out either to the desk or the bass amp. Listen up, kids.
Yeah, I see. There's kids now right looking at this right away, thinking, "My God, that's how I do it," and they'll be going away, disappearing now. They won't even listen to the rest of the interview. They'll be off doing that.
That's it. Yeah. For them.
Yeah, so when you first started, I think, I mean, if I was reading correctly, Toby Jepson was quite a big help to you when you started. Is that correct?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was. It kind of all happened really fast. We sort of got a manager, and then he'd come to a gig in Manchester through one of our fans had sort of brought him down, and then we basically. Oh, that's my dad.
Hello, Dad. I like that. Come and join in.
All right.
Oh, he's enjoying it.
All right. He's a drummer as well. So yeah, we I think our old manager sort of had been working with Tobe, and then Tobe came to a gig we were doing. Loved the band, really wanted to work with us, and then we I think we were in the studio within about a month, and we did an EP. I think we ended up doing 3 EPs, and then the album came out. So yeah, I mean, Tobe was a massive part of it, and we're really hoping that maybe he'll come to one of these gigs, because he should kind of be there. He was the guy that sort of created it and started it with us. So
That's nice. That's nice. I saw him with Little Angels back in a long time ago, 92, 93, something like that. It was a long time ago, many moons ago. And you guys, I said you work as a two-piece, but what I was also impressed was, as I delved a bit deep, was listening to the lyric. I mean, I'm a lyricist myself, and I like to write, and the power in what you write. Where does the influence from that come from? Is it from your roots? Is it from where you grew up, or where does all that come from?
Lyrical content, you mean?
Yeah, really, that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't get into lyrics, to be honest, till later on, and then it was never really something that came natural. So I kind of really put a lot of work into writing them, but they tend to be personal experiences, kind of mental health. In the past probably 7 years, like the political climate, things seem to have kind of got gradually worse on that side of things. So yeah, I think I'm always kind of thinking about stuff, writing it down, and then I'll tweak away continually and use as much maybe kind of wordplay or kind of move stuff around. It's really not something that comes very quick or natural, or maybe a line will, but yeah, it's something that I've labored over. But yeah, thank you very much.
No, it's interesting you say that. And I think you're underselling yourself, and naturally you can see these things and see it live. The passion when you're playing, I could see it. I was lucky. I was side stage left watching you, and I could see the feeling in what you were saying. So I think you're underselling yourself a little bit there, because there is emotiveness in what you're saying, and it means something to you as well. And I think that always comes across when you're watching a band. I think there are a lot of preachy people out there who will preach, and you've got your Billy Braggs and your people like that who'll give it, and they'll in between songs they'll give it that as well. And I've learned over the years, if you've done it in the song, you don't need to talk about it afterwards. People are there to be entertained. And
also, like, I think I'm not necessarily trying to convert people to the way that I think. I just want to voice what I'm thinking, and I don't think that you make such a great impression on people if you are being too preachy and too maybe persuasive. You just come across as almost like a gobshite. So I'm more kind of like coming from a place of I feel something deeply. I hope that comes across, but I'm coming maybe from a place of love, and I'm kind of interested if someone has completely contrasting views to myself. I'm interested to know where it's coming from and what why they think like that, and rather than just kind of defense war comes up, and I think that's kind of what's causing the divide, and people aren't talking enough. And but yeah, I think like artists should never be. You should have the courage to speak of what is meaning something to you at the time, and to be honest, because I labour on doing the words, and because it feels so true, that's probably the only reason that I can sing with the conviction that people think, oh yeah, he means that. That comes across.
It does. It really does, and I think you're genuinely right. But I mean, you work so well off each other as well. I said about earlier about how hard Danny hits the drums, but also the timing of it as well is so key. Where did you two guys first meet? I mean, where did you first sort of strike up your band?
Yeah, I think what you say is actually bang on, really, because me and Al met each other at music college in Northwich, and it was kind of like one of them courses where, well, me and Al just gelled really quickly. So any of the bands that you getting together in college and stuff, it was always me and Al, and then it was pretty clear from then what we got out of the college course was we just wanted to be in a band together, and so we formed a band, and then we went through so many different bass players, that it ended up being it was a 4-piece then, so like 2 guitar players, bass player, and then so it ended up becoming a 3-piece with this bass player. So we kind of lost the guitar then, and it was almost like having to work out how to fill that part that you didn't have anymore. And I think that probably helped us a lot in how we've gone about this, really, in terms of like figuring out that whole of sound that you've got to kind of make up. But I definitely think, you know, from all the people that we've played with over the years, it's always still just been me and Al. And like, if we get in a rehearsal room now, we could jam for an hour, don't even have to look at each other. Like, I know when he's going to go up, I know when he's going to go down. And it's similar with him. He knows if I'm going to play hard, if I'm going to chat. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I think it is quite.
No, I see it. I definitely picked up on that. And I think it's it's unique. I think a lot of bands, you know, when they have brothers in, I mean, like in my own group, I have a father and son on guitar and bass, and you feel it. You don't have to say, and almost like you're related to each other when you play with someone so long. And I think it's interesting. We were up in Nottingham the other week, and Royal Blood were playing over the road at Rock City, and we weren't told that when we were playing. We suddenly saw all these people disappearing to go and see Royal Blood, and I thought, oh, here we go. So we had a word with them. We went on about 45 minutes later, and then they all came back. It was a curfew at 10 o'clock, and we got all the people back in. And they're a great band, Royal Blood, and I like what they do, and they've got their own things set up. But I felt with you guys, I felt more of a connection. I really bought into what you were doing, and I'd never seen you before. I remember that track from years ago, and for someone sort of coming in, not expecting, you know, I was totally into what you were doing. I mean, it was a bit of a sausage fest that Monday night, I must admit. I was thinking,
like it.
But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed what you did, and you know, I think you went up to. Were you playing Love Rocks last week?
Yeah, we were. That was wicked, man. It was. We didn't have our tour manager actually, so it was. It's definitely the furthest gig just the two of us have done before, and so it's a bit of a slog, but yeah, it was great. Really cool festival, and again, similarly, like, I actually think we've been saying this. I think since we've only been at 2 now for like 18 months probably, and it's one of them. You know, the more gigs, every gig we're doing, it's getting better and better. You find them little bits that you're filling in better, and yeah, I don't know, the reaction we're getting now is really great. It's almost a bit like when we first started, you know, where people are kind of going, oh, wow, you know, I think it's given it like a bit of a freshness to it, you know, because I guess we're having to think a lot more, you know, whereas maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we were sort of more going through the motions, you know, because we've just been doing it as a 3-piece for so long. So
will it be awkward having a man back for the gigs in Macclesfield, or will it just be like slotting in?
I think because it's Matty, he's like the most lovely guy you could ever meet. It's it's just going to be a really nice couple of nights, really, and it's going to be great to have him back because, you know, I mean, when Matty left, he definitely had enough of this, you know, the music industry and stuff, and you could see like he's a completely different person now. He's back to the way he used to be, and you think about the last 6 months of him being in the band, like it was killing him. Like, you know, you look at like old promo photos and stuff, and you can see it's like he was just killed. The whole thing had just done him in. So it's so nice to be playing with him again, and it's dead relaxed, and there's no pressure, you know. And
hometown gig, yeah,
it is, man. I mean, we were going to do. I think the original plan was we'd do like, you know, sort of Glasgow, Manchester, and London, and do it that way. But because of stuff we had with the wagons and then other things, it was kind of like, we wouldn't be able to play them, and we'd have to sort of figure out and doing sort of places we'd never really played before, and we just thought that's just going to be such a weird thing to do. So it just felt like the best, the fairest thing we could do to the fans is just sort of say we're just going to do this show in Mac. But yeah, no, it'll be really good. I'm really looking forward to it.
I think you deserve that. I mean, I think that the reports are really great. I heard you got some airplay on. They played Bang 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 on Planet Rock the other day, which was great. And
yeah, man, that was great.
And Richard Brindley, I know, who's a massive fan of yours. He's gutted you're not playing the New Wave of Classic Rock Festival, but you got offered a pretty decent support, didn't you?
Yeah, mate, it was again really incredible. It's a bit like sort of how the Wagons tour came about. You know, we got that tour because we turned out like Baz and the guys like loved the band, and we were lucky to get offered that. And then the guitar player from Ricky Warwick and the Fighting Hearts that we played with last year, he sort of kept in contact with Al, and he really liked the 3 singles that we put out last year. And he plays in the Sisters of Mercy, and I think he sort of I guess he must have shown a couple of the songs to the main man, and he turned around and just said, you know, want Virgin Mary's to come and do. I think we got offered the US tour, the European tour, and the UK tour, but I think doing the numbers for a US tour, we needed about 40 grand, so we couldn't do the US tour. So yeah, I think we've got a full 2-month European tour starting in September, and then a UK tour in November. So it's just going to be with them guys for 3 months. It's just going to be incredible. Like
that'd be great. But I suppose for a lot of bands, I mean, you're the sort of dream team, really, because there's only 2 of you. You're not they have to deal just to get 2 of
it's
you.
pretty awesome in that respect to just kind of rock up as the 2-piece. So yeah, I think we probably are, aren't we? Like a kind of headline band's dream of a support band, because there's only 2 egos and less gear.
But also, I think it works for you as well, because no one's expecting the sort of the noise that you create, the 2 of you. I mean, I always remember the first time I saw Rush, was just being blown away with the noise of these 3 guys. But now with you 2, I mean, it's just like it's in you. You're looking around for someone hiding behind the amps. You know, I'm convinced there's someone behind. You know, like it's not. It's just you 2 on there playing.
Sure.
No, it's really, really good. And as I said, I can only see bigger and better things. You did actually get out to the States, and you played the States, haven't you, before?
Yeah, it was the first album. We signed with a company called Wind Up Records for that first album, and they were incredible. And we actually ended up spending more time in America than we were in the UK. And maybe in some ways that kind of where we dropped off our fan base in the UK, because we were just constantly out there. And I mean, it was like 3-month tours, 4-month tours. We saw so much of it. Like as I say, I think there's only about 4 or 5 states we never toured. But it was brilliant, yeah. And then it was just kind of, it just didn't. When we did the second album, it kind of dropped off for us. I guess maybe there was some problems with how soon we get the second album out, and it always felt a little bit like it took too long. And but yeah, it was amazing time that.
How do you guys sort of have downtime? I mean, do you play tennis against each other? What do you do? Game board? What do you guys do when you need to wind down?
I don't know really. I'm a massive film buff, so I spend my time watching movies. Yeah, that's probably my downtime. But
yeah, it's one of the. I think if you're so passionate about music and your project and your business, and that's your livelihood, it's difficult to switch off from it. And yeah, trying to think of what I do with my downtime or what Dan does, it's fairly difficult. I think I like just going out. I quite like a lot of silence, to be honest, because a lot of it, what we do feels like very noisy, and it's stressful being independent, doing the whole project, the whole thing yourself. So yeah, it just tends to be chilling out. I think, like I do exercise and meditation and Netflix and Amazon.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Sitting up to 3 a.m. watching films, and I have 2 sort of stages. I have the ones I can watch a subtitle film or something that I really want to watch, which I might watch with my wife, and then it'll get to 12 o'clock, and then it gets to things like Death Snow and Land Shark or something really.
Yeah, mate. I'm
Sharknado 5.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's the way it is. I mean, I used to live with a guy for about 10 years ago. We used to sit and watch all those. And when I'm old enough to remember, when videos first came out, And we used to go down the shop and we get these things like, oh, look at this film, it looks great. I mean, it was a pile of shite, but we'd sit and watch it late at night, and it was just the best thing in the world. And it really sort of distressed you. Yeah, and that's it. So
I
you've got
remember
exciting
when,
things.
sorry, I remember when we first met, like college, I wasn't, it felt like I'd only really seen a handful of films, and being around at Dan's house all the time, he was always watching films and kind of introduced me to all these kind of like classic things that I'd never seen. So I probably got into watching films from Dan.
There you go. That's quite a responsibility there. You got your own little school of what's
Absolute
what.
shed load of B movie horrors. That's what it would have been. The best. Yeah, mate.
I said my kids go to bed. I'll start watching a film and they'll go, oh, I don't watch that, Dad. It's rubbish. No, honestly, it's great. You know, to understand it.
Absolutely.
Spend your
No
time.
CGI. No
Yeah.
CGI.
No. Quoting lines from films to the end of the days. This is brilliant. Look, what I want to know is, so you're going to do this. You're going to do this tour. You're obviously working on material all the time. Is there a chance of another album coming out?
Yeah, I think that's where it's at, really. Like, obviously we put an EP out last year just because we thought we need to put something out as a two for the fans, and then we were talking about doing another EP. We had enough songs to do another EP, or 6-7 track EP or something, but it feels like it needs to be an album now. And we've got some brilliant ideas. There's some people that hopefully we're going to get to work with production wise, which would be incredible. Yeah, it's exciting. It's just trying to get all our ducks in a row, I suppose, in terms of what we can do this year. And then obviously we know what we're going to be doing back end of the year touring, and finding that time when we can get in and actually record it. But
I think, like, with the EP, we just did the how it's tended to work. We just done the drums in a studio, and then I've recorded the rest, a setup myself, and then it's all kind of self-produced. So it's taken so long, and I think I've probably realised that perhaps I don't have the bandwidth to record the whole thing, edit the whole thing, and so maybe moving forward, we have to start kind of working with some people, to make sure an album does come out. That's
interesting. You say that. I mean, with my setup, I stay out of it. In fact, I think my singing's improved since I stopped playing guitar. Actually, I'm not allowed near any of that. I just get the stuff to late at night on a Sunday night where I have to sit up with a bottle of whiskey and try and put words to something they've created. And then I'll find the ones which I like are hooked. I say, well, that's a hook, that's the chorus, that's the bridge, that's where that's going. And think about some of the latest one I'm working on at the moment is a thing called Even Nuns Watch Porn, which was a quote from the Pope a couple of years ago.
Love it.
Yeah, the lyrics are writing themselves. I was brought up as a Catholic. They're writing themselves. It's quite easy.
Yeah.
Candles out, girls, all that kind of stuff. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure, Tonya, and thank you so much. I know you're both tired. You're rehearsing really hard, and I can hear it. And this is a fellow musician taking kind of, taking sympathy with you, because you've been banging out. Obviously, I can hear in your voice, Ali, as well. But listen, I wish you all the best of luck. Anyone out there who hasn't caught these two, go and check them out. You can find them on Spotify everywhere. Listen to all their tracks, all their EPs, their singles, the albums, and the first one, which they're going to be doing a 10-year. I mean, 10 years. I can't. The King of Conflict. 10 years since that came out. Go and see them. Go and check them out. And when you come down to London again, I'm definitely coming to see you. And I shall pop up the door and I shall wave, and then you'll know I'm there.
Top man. Nice. Thank you, man. Cheers for nice one.
It's an absolute pleasure, and I will catch up with you. This will probably go out sometime next Friday, so don't forget to tell all your friends and all your fans.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Cheers, I'll definitely tell my dad he's got a cameo.
Yeah, well, he's in it. He's
man.
Back. That's the best walk on ever. That one.
Yeah, really was.
Cheers, boys. Thanks, Danny. Thanks, Ali.
Nice
Take care of yourselves. Speak soon.
Speaking to you. See you later.
See you in a bit.